The flames from the Hyperius Dreadnought's shoulder-mounted cannon surged forward in a roar of heat and light, scorching the dirt and sky alike. Cliff dove behind the charred remains of a supply wagon, his coat trailing smoke, his side seared. The smell of burnt leather filled his nostrils as he clutched at the wound, teeth gritted in pain. Suidas was already gone. Her form shimmered violet as she slipped into the phase walk, moving like a shadow through space itself. She emerged just beneath the mech's massive left arm, her hands glowing with elemental energy. With a scream of force and fury, she struck at the dreadnought's joint, sending sparks flying. The mech turned instantly. It grabbed her. The clawed hand crushed around her body, then hurled her like a rag doll across the clearing. She smashed through a tent pole and tumbled into the grass, skidding until her body lay still in the dirt. She groaned, blood in her mouth, struggling to breathe. The dreadnought's eyelights scanned, locking onto Mr. Phantom. He didn't flinch. With a command, Deathtrap deployed mid-air with a shimmer of blue energy. The construct's claws roared to life as it intercepted the dreadnought in a metallic fury. For a moment it was machine versus machine, steel clashing in thunderous blows, trees shaking from the shockwaves. Deathtrap slashed at the mech's knees, denting armor and exposing cables. But the dreadnought was built for war. With a piston hiss, it slammed its claws straight into Deathtrap's chest, lifting him off the ground before driving him into the soil. Sparks erupted. A final groan of circuitry filled the air before Deathtrap's systems whined and went dead. Mr. Phantom ducked behind a tree as bullets from the dreadnought's autocannon sprayed the area. His Dahl rifle returned fire in short, desperate bursts, but the bullets barely dented the mech's reinforced plating. Cliff forced himself back to his feet. His revolver shook in his hand, but he still fired, 6 shots in rapid succession. The last one ricocheted off the mech's head and made it turn. It roared, a hollow, echoing sound from deep within its armored frame. The Vault Hunters regrouped, barely standing. Blood streaked Suidas' temple. Phantom's coat was torn and blackened, and Cliff's leg buckled with every step. That's when Suidas saw it, 2 cores glowing purple, pulsing like heartbeats embedded in the dreadnought's back. Iridium. "The cores!" she shouted, coughing. "Iridium power cores on its back!" Phantom's eyes locked on the glow. That's the power source. Cliff raised his revolver, nodding. Then we take them out. The 3 hunters, battered and bruised, stared down the metal behemoth, each knowing they couldn't survive another mistake. But this was Pandora, and Vault Hunters don't run. Cliff holstered his revolver, chest heaving, blood seeping through his shirt. "I'll draw its fire," he muttered, limping forward, never taking his eyes off the towering dreadnought. The mech turned, targeting him immediately. Twin barrels spun up, screaming as they unloaded a storm of lead. Cliff dove again, this time behind a broken wagon axle, but not fast enough. Rounds tore across his shoulder, flinging him sideways. He crashed into the ground, face twisted in agony, but still alive. Mr. Phantom shouted through the haze, firing a burst to draw the mech's attention. It turned just enough. Suidas blinked into her phase walk and vanished. Time slowed for her in that moment. She passed through the veil, footsteps silent and swift, weaving through the carnage. Her target was clear, the iridium cores. They pulsed with a ghostly purple, thrumming like drums in a storm. She reappeared behind the mech, knees buckling on impact, and stabbed her glowing hand into one of the cores. The moment her fingers touched it, raw energy coursed through her body. The mech howled. The core exploded in a shock of violet light, sending Suidas flying back again. Her body slammed into a tree, bark cracking. She lay there, twitching, pain lighting every nerve. Only one core remained. The mech turned wildly, staggering, sparks pouring from its side. Its movements were erratic now, more dangerous than ever. A hydraulic line burst, oil spraying across the dirt. Mr. Phantom sprinted, ducking under another blast from the flamethrower. He slid on one knee, firing up into the exposed joint near the second core. Sparks flew. The mech swiveled, trying to crush him, but it left its back open again. Cliff, battered and bleeding, dragged himself up one last time. He lifted his Jacob's revolver with both hands. "One shot," he whispered. "Make it count." He fired. The bullet screamed through the night. It struck the second core, dead center. The explosion rippled out like thunder, the purple light blinding. The mech convulsed, falling to its knees. Gears snapped and collapsed. The frame shuddered, limbs flailing before finally giving in to gravity. The Hyperius dreadnought crashed face first into the dirt, a crater forming beneath it. Smoke poured from its back. The glowing cores were gone. Suidas coughed from her spot beneath the tree, her vision swimming. Mr. Phantom limped over to her, offering a hand, while Cliff stumbled toward the wreck, revolver still smoking. They had won. But the cost was written on every bruise, every burn, every drop of blood left behind in Owl Ridge. Smoke still curled from the collapsed husk of the Hyperius dreadnought, its twisted frame leaking fluids into the dirt as the moonlight caught the shattered iridium cores. The battlefield was quiet now, save for the crackling remnants of Owl Ridge's great bonfire and the ragged breathing of the Vault Hunters. Cliff leaned against a scorched wagon, one hand clutching his ribs. Suidas wiped blood from her mouth, staggering over to where Mr. Phantom stood, his eyes locked on the unmoving body of the tiefling woman. Luna lay motionless, the crimson stain on her shoulder having grown dark and dry in the cold air. Suidas coughed and steadied herself beside Mr. Phantom. "You need to use it," she said, voice low, steady. "The staff. Now." Mr. Phantom didn't respond at first. His gaze lingered on the lifeless tiefling. Finally, he stepped forward and pulled the relic from his back, Godric's staff, its orange crystal humming softly, faint pulses echoing like a heartbeat. He knelt beside Luna and placed the staff beside her chest. The ground around them stirred. Wisps of warm, golden light twisted up from the earth. The staff vibrated in his hand, reacting to her spirit, recognizing something still tethered. He tightened his grip, and the runes along the staff flared to life. A current of energy passed into her body with a sharp pulse, crackling with ancient druidic power. Luna gasped violently. She sat upright, eyes wide and wild, air flooding into her lungs as if she had been drowning in silence. Her body trembled, pain laced into every movement. But she was alive. She looked around, disoriented, then down at the wound on her shoulder, now sealed by a thin web of glowing veins. Her gaze slowly lifted to the trio standing around her. She blinked, swallowed, then narrowed her eyes at Mr. Phantom, before offering him a nod of quiet respect. "Didn't think I'd owe you one," she said hoarsely, "but here we are." Suidas helped her sit up straighter, while Cliff gave a soft chuckle that turned into a wince. Luna looked to the burning wreckage of the dreadnought, the night air thick with the scent of oil and scorched earth. "You fate makers," she said slowly, "aren't just rumors after all." She sat still for a long moment, letting the silence speak. Then her fingers curled into the dirt beside her and her expression hardened. "All right," she said, breathing deep. "Let's talk about what the hell's really going on." Mr. Phantom raises Godric's staff and conjures a familiar swirl of golden and orange energy. The portal blinks open beneath their feet, and in a flash of light, the Vault Hunters are flung once more into the center of Lord Sadler's study. But this time, the room is no longer as they left it. The books are scattered. One of the candles has toppled over and scorched part of the rug. The far window is shattered inward, and against the left wall, slumped and bloodied, sits Lord Sadler himself, his coat torn, blood seeping from a gash near his ribs. He clutches at his side with one hand, but when he sees them, he gives a slow, pained smirk. Luna, still reeling from her resurrection and the battle, gasps and runs to him. Suidas rushes to his side, kneeling beside him. "Sadler, what the hell happened?" Lord Sadler groans and lifts his hand weakly. "Them wretched sisters. I hate them goddamn sisters." Cliff steps forward. "Heletrix and Artemis, what do you know about them?" Sadler shifts slightly, with Luna helping to support him upright. "Ex-Lance assassins," he begins, his voice hoarse. "They were part of a Crimson Lance assassination cell, an all-female squadron within the Atlas Guild. The whole thing was Atlas's attempt to clean up after Admiral Mike's Girls Are Stupid re-election campaign, a PR disaster, so they tried to prove they respected their female soldiers." He coughs, spitting blood into a handkerchief before continuing. "Their solution? Kidnap dozens of young girls, torture them, break them, raise them as the most brutal assassins the Lance had ever seen. Trained from birth to kill, no ties, no families. They made them murder their own parents to prove their loyalty. Atlas called it an efficient loyalty program. Residents of the Wonderlands called it what it was, child trafficking and slaughter." His hand clenches on the armrest. Helatrix and Artemis. Those two were the best of them. Left the lance eventually. Probably took a fat pile of Hyperius gold to do so. Who knows what they were promised. He tries to sit up straighter, teeth gritted against the pain. They came back here right after the Atlas squad left. Ambushed me. Must have been waiting just outside town. Knew exactly when to strike. Suidas helps him sit upright as Luna drapes one of his arms over her shoulder. I haven't even had the chance to see the damage they did, Sadler says, breath shallow. But I can feel it. We've lost people. Maybe a lot of people. Luna gently lifts him and walks him to his chair behind the desk. She lowers him carefully, then turns to the Vault Hunters, eyes full of concern. Please, can you check on the town? Through the broken window, the soft glow of Shadow Grove flickers. Somewhere outside, smoke curls faintly into the night. The silence feels heavier now. The kind that follows violence. The kind that lingers after something sacred has been trampled.